Yeah.
All right. President Second Negby is here, and we just need him to turn on his video via the bottom left-hand corner where there's a little video camera. Perfect.
You guys all dressed up. Monday, you put it on the tie. This is supposed to be from home, virtual.
I was just coming from a meeting and I said, give me 5 minutes. I need to run and get a tie on.
No, you can even take it off. We didn't see you.
Yeah, well, it's a nice tie though, right? It makes me look,
Imagine.
you know, happy. Thank you, Kiana. I need Kiana's support. Thank you.
Hi, Kiana. How are you?
Hello. I'm good. And yourself?
I'm fine.
Good, good.
Carla, when is the door going to be open for students? Is they open now?
We have 2, 4, 6, 8 students in right now with us so far. So if we give it just a few more minutes, I think people are probably getting settled in behind their computers. So if we can get started at about 3 or 4 minutes after, that'd probably be great.
Or 3:05, yeah.
I'm gonna send the reminder to all the club chats and the student chats in case people forgot. But
I just did, Kiana.
Hi, Yvonne.
Hello, how are you?
We can see you.
I know. I don't have a tie.
Perfect. I just saw that you.
Hey.
Are you calling audio? Are you doing audio call?
Who, Kiana?
No, Yvonne.
She is. She's audio for us today.
Oh, okay. Irene, you look so serious. What's up?
You're on mute, Irene.
I'm unmuting you. I'm unmuting you. There you go.
a lot of emails to answer.
Yeah. Were you on PMP this morning? Oh, okay. I mean, there were too many voices at the point in time I lost count of who was there.
Hi, Solomon. Thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Hi, how are you?
You know, it's interesting because with the way things are going, it seems like I might be the only counselor in Office of Personal Counseling for a little bit.
For the moment, but thank you for holding it down for us. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Oh, no worries, no worries. How's everybody else doing?
Good.
Good.
Not bad, not bad.
Good.
Okay.
You know, this forum is very interesting. I mean, the more I'm doing it, sometimes you wonder, why didn't we do this long ago? You know, every time we used to be face to face. Just doing this now, I can't imagine even PMB. We did PMB this morning. Action items were taken like this. I think businesses have been using this forum for a long time. I think we in academia, we're discovering it late.
Zoom is only a few years old.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember when I was at a previous job and we used them and they were infantile. This was about 3 years ago. They were just trying to keep afloat and stay alive. And then they got a big investor or two, and obviously with what's going on now, it just took off. So
Right.
Yeah, now it's skyrocketing. Everybody wants to invest in Zoom, but it's a short-term play. So.
well,
You think so?
know, I think I feel a little differently in that I think there's going to be a lot more of this going forward. You know, even after everything
We'll have
decides.
competitors.
Yeah.
Much more competitors. Now that this is a new norm, they're going to have a lot of people competing with them. So.
There's Zoom and WebEx. Is there any other platform?
Oh, yes.
Microsoft Teams.
Hopin, Acrobat, Teams. There's a bunch
Google,
of them.
There's a Google one. And,
Yes.
and of course, you know, there's still FaceTime.
Yeah, but FaceTime, you can't have as many people, can you, on FaceTime?
Oh, and Skype and Discord, my son just yelled out.
Facebook has a messenger that's similar to Zoom.
I think Skype is old fashioned. Does anybody do Skype anymore? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to remember that. I don't think, I haven't heard about it lately.
Skype is a veteran.
Yeah.
And I think Duo is expanding the number of people that it's allowing to have on its platform as well.
What is it
Never
called?
even heard of Duo.
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 DUO. It's a lot like Google Hangouts and WhatsApp calls. And originally they were just very high-end person-to-person FaceTime, mostly for people who had Android-based phones.
Mm-hmm.
And they've allowed some expansion into their platform that's been really nice too.
I agree with Rich that we're going to see more of this coming down our way. And, you know, once this takes off, it's going to take off. And Kiana is right. You're going to find more people that will invest. I don't know if necessarily Zoom, but compatible platforms.
I think this is going to be the same kind of thing that we found with social media, where there are going to be some platforms that young people are going to prefer, and then there are going to be platforms that, you know, are for middle and business and so on, you know, that they all have different kind of things that touch different kind of people.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you'd like to go ahead and get started. We have 30 people in the room with us.
Oh my God, we have
And
30 people.
I
Can you
expect
see?
that
Can you
we're
see
gonna-
everybody?
I can, yes. Mhm.
Hi, President.
Wow.
I
In
have a
fact, to me,
question about
Hello.
President.
yes, sir.
I have a question about like, do we celebrate graduation party? Do you celebrate like we are celebrating like graduation party in physically?
Manny is going to talk about that. Yes, we have a virtual. Manny, what are you calling it? Virtual graduation.
Well, I
coming up.
didn't. Oh, so for graduation, so are we starting now?
No, no.
Well-
She was asking a question. Maybe we'll wait. Let me quickly do an opening, then we'll go on.
Thank you, President.
Okay, all right.
So I would like to welcome everybody to joining us for our student town hall. It looks like we have 31 participants. I'm sure more people are going to be joining us as we go. I'm Carla Williams. I'm the president's deputy and executive legal counsel. And so I'll be helping out today as moderator. On the call, you have each of your vice presidents, president and provost. You also have our chief information officer, Loic Adusso. We have a representative of our Office of Personal Counseling, Solomon Pico. We have our AVP for Marketing and Communications, Richard Ginsburg, our Dean, Manny Lopez, and a number of others who are joining us from around the campus to answer questions for you today. So the way that this is going to go is the president's going to make brief remarks, followed by SGA Representative Kiana Berry, followed by Irene Delgado, our Vice President for Student Success, and then wrapping up with our Provost and Vice President Lester Rapolo from Academic Affairs. They should be answering a lot of the questions that you all might have on the call today. But in the event that they don't, please use the chat feature that's at the bottom of the screen, and you can either write directly to me or to the group. I'm monitoring the chat as we're going, so I will make sure that we get your questions answered and pointed towards the people that are on the chat so that everyone's questions get answered in a timely manner. I will be muting and unmuting people throughout the meeting, so if you notice that your mic goes on mute, please don't be offended. We just want to make sure that there's no background noise and everyone is able to hear everybody that's talking without too much disruption. So if you do need to speak and your phone is on mute and you notice I keep muting you again, just let me know in the chat that you're trying to get through and we'll unmute you. So with that, I want to turn it over to the president, President Seconegby.
Carla Williams, I want to say thank you for serving as the Oprah for this forum and serving as the moderator. You know what? I'm really excited about this. I don't know about the folks in the hall. This is our first virtual town hall meeting, and anytime you do a first, really, you got to have some excitement about it. So I am really thrilled to welcome everybody back to campus, virtually online or virtual. You know, about 6 weeks ago, we were forced hurriedly to leave the campus because of the COVID-19 situation and scenario here. I really want to commend the students that are with us here today, and in fact, to all of our students, really, for what you've done to make the switch from in-person classroom learning to distance mode learning. Really, you all are my heroes, and I really think about all of you as students. I can't imagine in my time I would have whined and cried to make this switch, but the way the group of students on with us today and all of us, all of you as students have made this switch is really great and comforting. In fact, it tells me every day that if we give you the necessary support, you all are going to be successful. Again, I want to say congratulations and thank you to the students here, really. I know the faculty and staff put in a lot of time in making this conversion possible. I want to use this public forum to also say thank you to the faculty and the staff too. Having said that, we made the switch 9 weeks ago. We know it's not been easy. We know it's very difficult to make one transition from A to B or C to D. But what we've tried to do as an institution is to provide all of the necessary support that we can provide you to make this transition fully. Right from the financial side of it, our advancement office, for those of you that don't know, for those that we've seen this later, we have the emergency fund that we have in place. In case we can help you in any way, I need you to check that out, to apply to see how now you can get enrolled into that. And also the CUNY has an emergency fund that has been set up at the university level. I believe 50 students were picked from BCC, and those checks of $500 should be going out to the mail to those students. And also in the areas of support here, we have our food pantry that is open twice a week. And even when it's closed, there is a link on our website that directs you to the various places where we think we can help you to. I know Irene, our Vice President Irene Delgado will talk more about that, probably, or make some comments about that in her speech. We've also tried as much as we can to support you instructionally. We have the laptop loaner program that we put in place. Thanks to Loic, Irene, Lester, and all of the people that really worked on this. If you still don't have a laptop or if you don't have an iPad to work with, it's not still too late. In fact, we just sent out a broadcast today really that basically talked about that. And I hope you take advantage of it really. One of the things I want to say is that for the summer, I think we've made a determination that during the summer, we're still going to be online. We love to have you on campus, but we know it's not, this coast is not clear. It's not still safe. We still need to maintain those social distancing. So all summer classes are going to be on the distance ed mode. I know you're going to ask me, what is the plan for the fall? We talked about this morning. We yet to make a decision on what we're going to do regarding the fall semester. But trust me that as soon as we know, we're going to be relating it out to you. I have a piece of good news for you. I'm sure you're aware of the CARE Act that was passed by the federal government. There is money coming to our institution, and half of that money is supposed to go directly to all of the students on our campus. CUNY Central Office is working on it, and if everything goes according to plan, those checks should be going out to you the second week in May, either the first week or second week in May. If you have more questions about that, we can also talk about that more. But one of the things I think we need to do is that you need to start registering for your summer classes, and you need to start registering for your fall classes. I think our provost and the vice president are going to talk about that more. This is about you, not about me. So my time is up here. I can see the light blinking here. So we're going to create more time for you to ask questions at the end. But to joining us in this forum is Kiana Berry, who's our SGA president. I'm going to flip the switch over to Kiana to say some opening remarks and welcome. Kiana?
Hi, Kiana. You are unmuted and ready to go.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you for the beautiful message from President. As mentioned, I'm the student government president, and I want to welcome you all first and foremost to being able to join us for this virtual town hall, taking the time out of your busy schedule. And just thank you for being able to come and show up, take initiative, and express yourself. This is a space where you can ask any questions, share concerns, and any grievances that you may be having, or any students, fellow classmates that you know have been facing. I want us all to keep in the back of our mind that this is a learning process for everyone. Everyone here in this call, we have the same goal, and we want to know how we can help you achieve your goals here at BCC. So a little bit about me. I'm a former VP and chair of all clubs, but current president of the Student Government Association. And the SGA, for short, is the intermediate between students, faculty and administration, we advocate on behalf of you guys for any concerns that you may be having. And this is why this is a perfect place for you to be able to do that here today. Even though we can't be there physically, we're here to support you virtually. And make sure that you stay tuned for any future virtual events the SJ will be hosting, and any videos we'll be posting for mindfulness and meditation to help you regulate your emotions during these times. And just make sure that you stay in touch and follow us on social media so you know everything that's happening. We're all excited to see you return to campus. And for the future, in the meanwhile, you can check the website and any other upcoming emails so that you're up to date. Thank you. I'll hand it back over to Carla now.
Thank you so much, Kiana. The next person who's going to be speaking is our Vice President for Student Success, Irene Delgado. Irene, let's turn it over to you.
Thank you, everybody. I want to thank everyone who is logged onto this call, the students who are taking an active step in trying to assure a little peace and tranquility in their world. So that just really speaks to your dedication to yourself and to your goals that you have in the future by spending some time here. Just to let you know that the offices that are in my wheelhouse are admissions, registrar, financial aid, but those are the big ticket items. There are a whole host of services that my division is responsible for that brings you services to make your life easier or better. Everything ranging from judicial affairs, the Male Empowerment Network, the Office of Personal Counseling, Single Stop, athletics. I could go on. So with that said, I want to remind you that if you need something and you're not sure where to go, all you really need to do is go to our website, go to the search bar and type in student success. You type in student success because that's what we want for you, success. Student success in that little search bar, a page is going to come up and it's going to say Office of Student Success, and you click on there, you're going to find a full listing of all the support services that we have with a phone number that you call for every one of these offices. And you will either get an answering machine where it'll tell you to leave a phone number, and we are checking those calls, those numbers every hour, every day, or it is directly going to someone who's going to answer the phone. I have also provided all the email addresses for everybody. So if you say to yourself, gee, you know, my laptop has suddenly died, I really do need a laptop, there's a spot for you to go and look up. If you say, oh my God, I'm running out of, I'm having difficulty with my paying my rent, I'm without a job right now, I'm falling into arrears, go to Student Success. We have something called Single Stop, which we have grant money there waiting for you that you have to apply, and we will talk to an advisor to see what other services and ways that we can help you, whether it's with, not that you need a Metro card right now because you all should be staying home, but if you really did need a Metro card because you are an essential worker somewhere, or if you need a food card, we can get you that as well. So we run the gambit in terms of support services. If you find that you're not sleeping well at night, that you're anxious, that you're saying, oh my God, I have to worry about the rent, and I have a child, and I'm trying to homeschool, and I have my own homework, and I can't fall asleep, the Office of Personal Counseling will have advisors who do free and confidential therapy and work with you. If you will notice that Solomon Piku is one of our mental health counselors, and he's on this call, so you can see one of our mental health counselors in action. So please remember that feeling stressed and anxious and nervous, this is not a sign that you are mentally ill. We are all stressed, and by talking to a professional, it'll sometimes help you get to where you need to go in terms of writing what is such an unusual place that we are all in. And I want you to know that we are all stressed with you, and we are rowing together to get to the other side of all of this. I want to remind you, this is the time to register for the fall, get into the classes that you want. I recognize that this is a very uncertain time. Will my classes be all online? Will they be hybrid? Will they be on the campus? Will they not? We are trying to work out those details as we speak, but let us get you into the classes so you start to have a plan. One of the best ways of feeling better is knowing that things are being done. So when you know that you have registered, that's a feeling of accomplishment, like one more thing you can check off the list. I think those are my big 5 minutes, and I just want to say thank you again for investing in your future, because we want to see you eventually cross that stage when that time is right.
Thank you so much, VP Delgado. I appreciate that. we're going to turn it over to VP Rapolo. And just so that you know, 2 questions have come in advance of the Q&A portion that maybe you could begin to discuss in the time that you have. One would be whether or not we anticipate that we're going to be moving into live classes as opposed to online classes in the fall. And then also, if you are able to, and if not, we'll kick it back to the president during Q&A, speak a little bit more about the CARE Act and stimulus funds that might be available for students in the upcoming months.
Thank you, Carla. I want to say thank you to all the students that are here today. In my book, in my view, you are my local heroes. Why? Because transitioning from a face-to-face platform into an online or distant learning modality in less than 5 days, under all the circumstances that we were facing, whether you were working, we understand that some of you work, have 1 or 2 jobs, or provide service to your family. I want to say thank you for, first of all, from being a student at BCC, and I want to say thank you to all the leadership at BCC that make this transition happening, from marketing, from student affairs, from legal, and all the faculty and staff that make this transition possible. Just to answer the question, Carla, regarding the fall, and I will continue, we are assessing the situation right now regarding whether BCC and CUNY as a whole will move to a distance learning modality or will continue to distance learning modality for the fall. As of right now, that's not the case, but as we know, this information is fluid and it can change, but the moment it changes, I will definitely inform all the faculty, and the students will know as soon as possible. Regarding the CARE Act, I believe the president will probably have more updated information, so I know that is very sensitive, and I want to make sure that he can contribute to that discussion. Some of the ticket items that we have that I would like to share with you, we move anywhere between 10 to 100% our courses fully online. We train our faculty, so it's not only about moving the classes online. The transition from face-to-face to online was a heavy lift, and without the help and support of IT and the faculty and the chairs and the adjuncts, this was not going to be possible. Laptop distribution, if you still need a laptop, as VP Delgado mentioned it, let us know as soon as possible. We're here for you. We care for you. Your success is our success. So you are the fabric of not only the Bronx Community College, but the nation and the community that you live. One of the things that I want to make sure is that we talk about grades. I know there has been a lot of questions regarding grades. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions regarding grades. I see some of the chats in there. We have a system in place, and I'm going to talk more about that. VP Delgado mentioned it, to register for the fall and the summer and the upcoming semester. It is imperative for you to continue to invest in your future. We have all the same level of courses that we had before face-to-face. Now we're having them on a distance learning modality, and we're here for you. Advising, we're still contributing to advising. We have advising available, whether that is via chat or email. We connect in, and we want to make sure that we fit your needs. Whatever questions you have, we're here for you. Tutoring, I know there has been a lot of questions regarding tutoring. We also supporting those services, and you have my email available. Any question that I might not be able to address today because of the time, you're more than welcome to email me, and I will find the solution immediately for you. And that's it. Anything else?
Sounds good. Thank you so much. We do have some questions that are coming up in the chat, and I expect that people are going to have very strong feelings about a variety of the choices that the college and university are making right now. One of the things that I would ask the president to speak to a little bit more comes from a student who's written in that they're asking for the decision to be made to close the campus for the fall semester now, to allow students the time to mentally prepare and remove senses of uncertainty, rather than procrastinating until the last second to see if things get better. That seems irresponsible. President, I am unmuting you now. If you could talk a little bit more about how the decision to either hold online classes or to hold some version of hybrid classes is actually being made.
The question that the student asks is a very, very, very good question. Listen, we don't want to go through what we went through this semester, where we had to make a decision in 1 week to move from in-person to online. The decision about the fall is a decision that collectively the university has to make. Remember, all of the 25 campuses, we all got to go one way or the other. And this depends really on the situation. What is the situation with the pandemic? What is going on with the rate of infection? Is this coming down as this level of? But I can tell you that I have the sense of feeling that by the end of May, we should be able to, either May or sometimes in early June, I'm sure the university is going to make the decision on where we're going to go. We're not going to wait till the late summer. We're not going to wait till fall to make that decision. So what you're saying is that I get it, and I think we hear you. And I need you to know you're not the only one that is really concerned about that. We had a PMD meeting with the department chairs this morning that took half of the conversation, because people are asking us to do, what are we going to do? Because even if we're going to move fully online, there are some certain things that we need to do that we didn't do this time around. We need to make sure the students have all of the laptops. We need to make sure we give all of the training to all of the faculty so that they become seasoned experts in teaching online or in distance learning mode. So to the student that asked the question, great question. The university is not going to wait later, but it's going to be sooner, probably in May or before, sometimes first week in June, to decide on where we're going to go in the fall. And there was a question on the CARE Act that was passed by the House. This is money that was voted on by Congress and signed by the president to help students with all of their emergency needs, with food and all that things that have come up during this period. Bronx Community College, based on the number of students that are enrolled and based on the number of students that get Pell, there's a certain amount of money that we're going to be getting from the government. By law, half of that money is supposed to go directly to you as students. The central office, that's CUNY Central, is working out the mechanism on how we distribute that money to the students. And from my meeting with the chancellor last week, he's telling us that by sometimes in first week in May, or no later than the second week in May, the check should be going out to the students directly. It's unfortunately, which I disagree with, but this is the part of the law. International students are not can't get anything out of this money. And also undocumented students can also get anything there. I wish all students were included, but this is the decision that was made by the federal government that the money is only to go to US citizens or green card citizens. So that's the only students that won't benefit from it.
So we have a second question that's come in. One that came in asking about access to previous math materials. That student has since left our chat, but I will ask the vice president to follow up with any students that mention in the chat that they're having any trouble, Vice President Rapolo, to follow up with any students that are indicating that they're having some trouble with getting in touch with their faculty or receiving materials for their courses. We'll work with the faculty and the department chairpersons to make sure that you have everything you need for your classes.
Thank you, Carla. Absolutely.
Yes. A question came up about graduation, and specifically how the college will be handling the 60th graduation and whether or not we will handle that graduation along with next year's graduation, or if there will be a separate ceremony for students this year. I'm going to send that one first over to our Associate Dean, Manny Lopez, who will be able to speak a little bit about the graduation plans.
Yes, so thank you for sending that over to me, and thank you for the students who are joining us. I miss you all, and I wish you all a successful end of the semester. And I'll say it again, I really miss you all. So thank you for the question, and thank you for joining us today. Regarding commencement ceremony, I'll say this: nothing compares to an in-person ceremony at Bronx Community College. The excitement and the energy that comes with being on campus with 5,000 students, 5,000 guests, 2,000 graduates, family, friends, faculty, nothing compares to that. And so a virtual commencement ceremony will not compare to that. And I think the chancellor and our president knows that, and our students know that, and in part, a decision to postpone commencement was made by the university and the college to postpone to a later date. that later date, it seems, makes sense to be held during the time that commencement would be held every year in the summer next year. So coupling 2020 and 2021 in the same week is the plan for this, which would mean that we would still have a 60th commencement ceremony, because we're not having a commencement ceremony now. So for those of you who are a little concerned about will we miss a 60th commencement ceremony, you will not, because we're not having a virtual commencement ceremony. But we still honor you and acknowledge you, and will do so in a way that I think best, and some of the students have made suggestions on how to do this. And one of the ways that we're thinking about is to create what we're calling a recognition yearbook, an interactive recognition yearbook, where graduates' photos will be weaved into that yearbook, where snippets of videos, where students can send selfies and participate in this yearbook. And it's not only for the graduates, but also to honor the campus community who have struggled along with all the rest of us. And so we want to do that. And we also want to have the valedictorian, salutatorian salute provide their comments so that it can be included into this yearbook. We want to have a poetry contest of the graduates so that it can be infused into this yearbook. And we are thinking about, with the support of Student Life staff, how to have some sort of virtual party. The SJ usually has an end of semester party. So how can we do this in a way that acknowledges students, but celebrates not only our successes, but to sort of give us a little bit of an opportunity in virtual space to be with one another. I think that explains a little bit of it, and happy to answer any other questions.
So we have a question that's coming in from a student, Lorna. Lorna, I am unmuting you now, and you can feel free to ask your question.
Yes, hi. Yes, so my question is, I just want to find out, is there a protocol that lab professors follow since we're online? You know, is there anything, because since we don't have a classroom for lab, is there anything, you know, different that should be done, or? You know,
Great question. I've been in communication with the lab professors, with the professors. This isn't regarding chemistry or biology.
Biology.
Biology, yes. We have been working with the professors in order to provide the right software that they can use to continue and help with the students. But shoot me an email and I will connect with the professor in your particular situation. Okay. If you have not faced any particular guidance when it comes to labs, because we do have the software.
Okay, where can I send your email?
Carla, do you send?
Yes, directly after the after this meeting, everyone who's in the chat will get a list of emails of the people who were participating in the call from the administrative side, so that you'll be able to reach out specifically to anyone that you might want to follow up with who wasn't able to fully answer your questions here.
Okay.
And there are a couple of students who've been sharing their information in the chat with us as well, as those direct questions that maybe someone doesn't want to ask in front of everyone are being asked to me. I will be forwarding those over to the vice president so they can answer as well. I also wanted to let you know that a lot of the information about tutoring, especially the Learning Commons and Starfish, and information about Single Stop and the services that Single Stop offered is available on our website as well. So if you are looking for information about specific services and you go to our website, you can use the search banner to be able to find a little bit more detailed information, as well as phone numbers and contact information for the people working in those areas.
Okay. All right, thank you.
And I think, Lester, we had a follow-up question. Your answer regarding labs, would that be the same protocol for chemistry and chemistry labs as well?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Same method.
Okay then. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And Lester, one for you as well. What method is being used right now to evaluate the online material that's being used in the classrooms to make sure that it is has the same levels of rigorous academic standards and integrity as the type of class material that they would be receiving in a live course?
It's an excellent question, Carla. I can tell you that, and I mentioned it at the beginning of the virtual town hall, that it's not only just moving the class. One of the most important pieces that myself as the provost and working with in conjunction with the president and all the chairs, we want to make sure not only to provide the access of the online class, but the same caliber of excellence when it comes to the curriculum. So we have been working very closely with the chairs to provide the same quality of the curriculum that we will face in a face-to-face, that the students will see in a face-to-face class in a virtual modality. Obviously, the transition has been shifted because, as I mentioned it to you, we moved the entire portfolio in 5 days. But we continue to work with the chairs as we speak to keep informing the students about not only teaching the classes, but also providing the right level of curriculum at the highest standards. And not only CUNY Central, but also BCC, we also been training our faculty, and we will continue to train our faculty to be more savvy when it comes to teaching classes online. Some of them are extremely knowledgeable, but few of them need a little bit more work, and we acknowledge that. And just like this is new for a lot of the students, it also was perhaps news for some of our faculty members, and we acknowledge that, and we're very proactive in providing the right tools so the professors and the students feel comfortable taking the class.
Wonderful, thank you. We have a question for you, VP Roppolo. Can you please expand a little bit on the no credit or credit and no grade versus grade policy?
Thank you, Carla. Absolutely. So if you choose to convert, first of all, let me say this, right? If you want to, when the student wants to decide for a credit or no credit, right? A passing letter grade, we know A, B, C, D, and so forth. That grade can convert to a credit, which is being credit awarded, right? So a falling grade is an F, we know that, and that F can convert to a no credit and will not affect your credit at all as a student. So it's important to acknowledge that. So one of the questions that I receive is like, can I drop my class right now? I encourage students to not drop your classes, to continue to take those classes and work with your faculty one-on-one and say, hey, is there an extra assignment that you can help us or you can help me to finish this course? They all understand, they all have been aware of the credit, non-credit policy, and you have to also, as a student, it's your right to decide whether you want to stay in the class or if you want to withdraw from the class using these two modalities, the passing letter grade or the failing grade, which is an F, that will convert to a no credit, and it will not affect your award letter. But you have to notify the faculty. You have to work with the faculty. You have until June 25th to decide, so you have plenty of time whether you want that credit to be posted or not. So.
And would that policy apply to all students, or are there any departments that would be excluded? And specifically, would it apply to nursing students?
Great question. To all students.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions? I see
VP
Delgado.
Preclinical. Yeah.
VP Delgado?
You're mute.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted to add that you do need to speak to the department chair. There are some courses that require a certain letter grade.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to make sure that if you take a credit, no credit, that this will not impact your ability to get your certification. So I just put that out as a caveat, because there are some courses that do require a C+ or higher, and I'm not quite familiar that it's a blanket statement. So I would say that every nursing student should be speaking to their faculty and to the department chair.
Nursing and health science, yes, correct.
Questions? We want to hear from the students.
In the meantime, while we wait for questions, Kiana, were there any issues that you became aware of on behalf of the students that you might like us to address?
Hi. Any issues besides the ones being mentioned by the students directly was the being able to help students that were undocumented, especially during this critical time, being that they weren't being able to benefit from the CARES Act, as you mentioned. So besides, and our demographic of students is a large portion of our demographic is undocumented students. So that's why I think it'd be helpful, as I think Irene already mentioned about the scholarships that are available in the chat, but other services that BCC can offer would be helpful for the students to know, just off the top of my head.
I think Irene, maybe you want to comment. For the undocumented students,
For undocumented students, the only place that has any bearings is some of the financial aid that we have will not apply for students who are undocumented. However, if a student who is undocumented is having some financial hardship, they can always apply for the Pantry grant. That information is located on the Single Stop webpage, or you can just call the Single Stop number, leave your name, number, EMPL ID, and one of the staffers will call you within the next 24 hours to talk to you, because your status is relevant to the Pantry grant. To that end, all the other services, doesn't matter what your status is, whether you wish to get help with the Office of Personal Counseling, if there is a legal issue that you have, Single Stop can help you with. If you are interested in working on student activities, that is all there. Your status does not impact any of the support services. If you need help registering with your courses, if you need help selecting your courses, talking to your advisor, none of that will be impacted by your status.
Carla, Yvonne Arazo's in this space and works closely with students in this category, and I think she can add information about Dreamers, etc.
Great. Yvonne?
Hi.
Hi. Welcome to the conversation again. Is there
Thank
anything that
you.
you'd like to add?
Just a few notes. With regard to the Pantry grant, please realize that it's not for tuition or books. It is for any other thing that you might need. Food insecurities, housing insecurities, utilities that are backed up, childcare. But there is the New York State DREAM Act, which a student who is undocumented, even without DACA status, can apply to. Those with DACA status, there are several scholarships as well. But I do know there are some Dreamers that are needing just a little bit more just to cover their semester bill, and I would definitely reach out to myself. I am working closely with strategic initiatives to find out what other funds we may have for them.
Somebody asked a question, Irene, on they reapply for admission. How long will it take? I think that I just saw the question coming to the chat room.
And just so you know, President, we're starting from the questions top going down, so we just haven't gotten to those yet.
All right, okay, sorry.
No worries. VP Delgado, the 2 questions had come in that either you or VP Rapolo might be able to answer. The first is, right now, are we discussing increasing the CLT lab presence in science and lab classes? And then as a follow-up, would there be any potential increase in hiring on campus of students for the science programs?
I'm going to defer that to VP Rapalo and VP Ellis, as that is a budgetary and an academic issue and not in my wheelhouse.
Okay.
Thank you, VP Delgado. That's an excellent question. We are obviously, our number one commitment is your success and your academics. We are analyzing, we are assessing every impact that either hiring students in this particular situation will be, and not only to our campus, but also to our budget. So we're looking at every possibility. I don't know if Alex will have any more information regarding this matter.
But for the labs that for the labs that they're talking about, it depends on what mode we come back in the fall. Remember, we had the questions, we had the same conversation this morning. If we're going to do hybrid or we're going to do online, it may require small class sizes. So depending on what the configuration of the classes are for the fall, if we need some more CLT or some more students to man those classes, we will look into it. But for now, we're not there yet. If we know where we're going, then we'll make a definite decision around that. Right? The provost will make the decision.
Correct. Thank you, President.
We have an answer to the question about the registrar and readmission and application is going to be going directly to VP Delgado, and she will answer the student directly. VP Bayardell, can you please discuss a little bit more about students qualifying for scholarships and how they would get a scholarship from the foundation? And you may have to unmute yourself because I don't see you on our list.
How's that?
Perfect.
Okay. Well, that's a good question. We work closely, our office works closely with financial aid. So if in your financial aid there is a gap, that scholarship will kick in. So far, I understand for the spring semester, we have 88 applications and we welcome more. So please apply directly to financial aid and then your application will be considered.
And how exactly would they make that application?
It's online. They can go on the website and download the application.
Great. I'm also noticing that some students are having a little bit of a challenge being bounced out of the chat or with internet connections. I just wanted to let everyone know we are recording today's session and the town hall will then be posted on our social media and on our website. So if you miss any portion of this or would like to go back and review it again, you will be able to do that afterwards. We'll also make sure that all of the contact information is available for everyone on the call in case you have follow-up questions that you'd like. And for those of you who are interested in scholarships, the link to all scholarships that BCC currently offers is just posted into the chat. We have a question for VP Ropolo. It's specifically about the platform that's being used in the nursing department and some questions about how to progress. It says, I'm a nursing student. My concern is about the pharmacology progression exam because the department came out with a platform that is not adequate to show all working problems, but they insist that we need to show all work for every question. We've contacted the chairperson already and the answer has not been encouraging and this is calling to failure. Can you just speak to that student a little bit?
Yes, thank you so much for bringing that subject forward. Let me, what I will do, I'm gonna connect with the chair of the nursing department and find a viable solution that not only for you, but for all the nursing students. As we all know, this is an accredited body that we have to make sure that we comply with their a specific guidance, so there might be a language tied to that particular software that we're using. So, but let me follow up, and if you can send Carla an email and me, I will make sure to answer your question in a timely manner as soon as possible.
Okay, and Sylvia, I'm getting ready to send you my email address in the chat, and also VP, I will make sure that the message gets to VP Ropolo as well. So if you would like to email me directly, then we can go from there. Are there any other questions?
So in addition to the questions, I wanted to suggest to the group as well, to please feel free to share what is working. I would love to hear from students as well as their questions and concerns, things that are working, things that they find are helping, so that we can continue to do the things that are working well.
You know what, that's a great question. We'd like to hear from the students. Tell us about your experience. What would you like to see us do differently? Mind you, you're right. Even if it's just anecdotal experience, we'd like to walk away from here. So that we've come back in the fall, if we're coming back to this mode in the fall, tell us what you think we should do and what, great. I will follow your lead, Manny.
Yeah, in addition to what we should do, what's working, because there are some things that are working, I'm sure, and I would love to know what those are. I think as an example, I know some student club leaders have developed virtual space where they are doing joint tutoring or team learning from one another and things like that that are creative at this time. I would love to know, and we would love to know, so that we can try to replicate these best practices for the benefit of all students.
So we do have a question that's come forward. How do we go about submitting documents for registration for the fall, specifically tax returns, to make sure that we're applying in a timely manner?
Irene?
Oh, there we go. Actually, we, as of ago, CUNY Central has developed what's called FileNet, which is a secure way that all documentation that has confidential information can be uploaded without it having any breach to security. That information is located up on the web, and what I will do is I will make sure that once we have this transcript, that we will put it out there. But if you go to the registrar's office webpage or the financial aid webpage, you will see a link. It goes through CUNY First in order to be able to upload all your information. Loic, do I have that correct? He gave me a thumbs up, so that is the correct information.
Great. So we have a question from Bethany, who would like to talk a little bit about distance learning and labs. Bethany, you are unmuted and ready to go.
Okay. Hi. Thank you for letting me have my question. I just had a question in regards to virtual labs. You know, that being on campus is a lot easier to understand the concepts, and then being at home and having to do lab online is a little bit more difficult. Is there going to be further funding or future funding for more virtual programs for virtual labs? As an MLT student, it's hard to do like microbiology and plating when you have to look for it online. So I was wondering if there were more programs that you guys had in mind that could kind of help us and other biology majors or science majors in the same sense, like chemistry too.
I love that question. Absolutely. I can tell you that working with the chairs and the president of BCC, your education is number one priority. And yes, we are working to acquire software that will help not only the biology students, but all the students that in our BCC portfolio. So we want to make sure that we not only provide the classes online, but as you mentioned, the right software that would be conducive for you to learn the material in a most proficient way. So absolutely, we're working in those projects right now.
And we've had more than one student mention that they are having some trouble with responsiveness from faculty members. For anyone that might be having that as an issue, you can either write to your department chairperson, or you can write directly to either me or VP Roccolo. The two of us are happy to work with the department chairperson and faculty to make sure that they are more responsive or appropriately responsive to the questions that you have.
Absolutely. I'm glad that you raised that concern, Carla. If anyone in here, if you're reaching out to your faculty and if you don't have any response, please, please, please do not hesitate. Email me right away. Email Carla, myself. If it's something related to advisors or students, email VP Delgado. We're all here because we care for you, and we want to make sure that we address every question. And no, there's not a stupid question. We all have been students before, and I cannot even imagine what you guys going through, because this we never faced before. So we want to make sure that we answer all your questions. I noticed a question regarding credit or credit.
Yes, there's a question right now. If you opt for a credit versus no credit option, would a class need to be repeated?
Great question. You will have to talk to the advisor, but as of this moment, the language that CUNY Central provide, and I will read it to you, the credit or credit will have no impact on your GPA. So if you're struggling in that class, stick with that class, finish it, and talk to your advisor regarding the options that you will have to decide for the following semester. Irene?
If it's a class that is needed for you to graduate, you have to pass the class. So if you take it, I think the question was more about if you get it, if you fail it under the credit, no credit, and I might be misinterpreting the question. So if you're taking a class and you're, let's say, getting a D, you want it to be calculated into your GPA, it would count as you passed it. It would be for credit. However, let's say that you were to fail the course, it would be an F, then it's no credit. You would have to take the class if it's a part of your curriculum again.
So it looks like we have about 5 minutes left. I wanted to make sure that we had a few minutes for the president to leave some following remarks, and also for Kiana to be able to speak before we wrapped up. If you do have any additional questions that you want to include in the chat, please feel free, and we'll see if we can kind of bake those into the last comments. With that, President-Second Egby.
Boy, did we spend an hour already?
We did.
That went so fast. Again, I want to say thank you to all of the students that joined us this afternoon. I know this is the first one we have it, and it's my hope. I'm going to talk to my team here to see if we can even do one again sometimes in the summer, just to hear from you. But I think it's very important that you start registering for your summer classes and start registering for the fall. I know we don't know what the modality is going to be, but it's not too early to start registering for those classes. Somebody asked about financial aid earlier on, same thing. If there's a FAFSA form that needs to be filled out, I think it's not too early. That we're not here doesn't mean that we're not here. You can virtually do everything online and to get things ready for the summer and for the fall. I'm going to encourage you that you do that. I'd like to thank all of the staff. Carla, great job. I want to say thank you. VP Delgado, VP Raplo, thank you so much. I know there's a counselor that came on with us. Thank you, Manny, Yvonne. I want to say thank you to all of you. How can I end without saying thank you to my new SGA president, Kiana? I want to say thank you. Great speech, and looking to working with you in partnership in the interest of our students. I hope we get to do this again together. So, Carla, I give it back to you.
Just to answer two quick questions before Kiana jumps on, a question came in about whether we would be having a commencement ceremony. We will not be having a live in-person commencement ceremony this year, but we are working through the Vice President, the Office of Student Success, to identify ways to have a virtual celebration and ceremony. More information is going to be coming from our Associate Dean Manny Lopez and Vice President Irene Delgado in the upcoming weeks to talk more about what that celebration is going to look like. A second question that came through was regarding the laptop program, specifically that our laptops have been loaded with Google Chrome and it is incompatible with the software for our media and film production majors. We are very aware of the shortcomings that are associated with the art and music department, as well as the media and film department. We're working with the department chairs right now to find out what software would work. So in the event that we are online in the fall, and hopefully prior to the summer, we should have some options available for changing or upgrading the software that is on your loaner laptops.
Before Kiana comes in, Rich asked me to say this. Please check the website, college's website, and check your emails, because we're going to be sending you information on a regular basis, and most of this information we're going to put on our website and send to you via your email too. So please do make sure you check both medium and both the website and your email regularly. Kiana?
All right, so thank you all for attending, and thank you for your insightful questions and participating during this time where we're all learning together. We can get a grade for this and how we adapted to the unpredictable circumstances. I think we would all get an A. We're adapting, and I'm proud of you all and all your bravery during this critical time. And I'm looking forward to seeing you continue your journey at BCC. And for those who are completing their journey, I'm looking forward to seeing you at graduation. I also want to answer Manny's question, because I think it's important to end on a positive note, to look at not just what we have to address, but also what were we already doing good so that we can continue doing it. And I think some of the things that have come to mind when it comes to how students have adapted are doing virtual meetings with fellow students to do labs, doing discussions. Professors have been finding ingenious ways to give students points in their classes, whether it be giving extra credit or just giving the opportunity for students to be creative now visually with how they portray different projects. So I think that it's a combined effort of the students and of the faculty as well to think of creative ways of how we can adapt during this time. And I also want to make an important note that as we look forward to the future, remember to stay involved and active in politics, signing to make sure that you are a part of the upcoming elections is very important. And also for the census, make sure you get counted. Billions of dollars are dependent on funding. If you do not get counted, it is a service to our community. So as everybody has mentioned, we're all here to help you. And thank you again for joining today.
Very well done.
Thank you to
Good
everyone
job,
for
Kiana.
participating today. Thank you, Kiana, for representing the students so aptly. For those of you who might have any questions or concerns or who may have missed any part of today's town hall, it will be made available on our social media and on our webpage for you to review, along with information and email addresses for those people who are participating in the call from the administration side. We're always here and always available and happy to answer any questions, and look forward to seeing you all register for the summer and for the fall. Any questions that you have about how to do that, we will make sure we answer those. And we have all of the supports necessary for you to be successful at BCC. So we look forward to continuing to have you as a student moving forward. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Carla,
all.
great job. Thank you. Kiana,
Be
good job.
well.
Thank you.
Thank you. This was fun. Adios.
Bye. Take care.
Carla, you're muted.
I am going to close the meeting, and then I will make sure I save it locally. And I just need a Dropbox address for you so that I can send it to you.
I'll get Amy to give you a Dropbox address for that. And then who's going to be responsible for getting me all the email addresses to put in correspondence? Because I'll send it to an email to all the students that participated, and we'll post it on the website and as part of the social media as well.
I will pull together a list of all of the administrative participants and put their email addresses with that.
And any services included in that, or just the email addresses of the?
I would probably just stick with the email addresses for the people, because the services, well, Irene may have a list of services that she wants to include. So I'll ask her about that.
All right, great.
I know that the president was looking for us to do the rehearsal for tomorrow.
Yep.
And what I would say is it may make sense, since we're all already going to be on cabinet, for us to do it either at the very beginning or at the very end of that cabinet meeting.
That's perfect.
I think that way we can just ask everyone to click over into the chat.
That makes great sense. Great. Thank you, Carla. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All righty. Have a good one. Bye-bye.